Hi guys, my name's Marina, and 10 years ago I was diagnosed with a tumor in my right leg. Pain is quite an interesting thing because, something like this, or any illness really, only really hits you a bit later than it hits everyone else. You don't really think about everything that's happening to you while it's happening. But in my case, what actually was happening was that my body was taking all that stress for me without me mentally processing what had happened. And after I got out of that operation, I was fine. I was in survival mode. My whole idea was, yeah, I'm going to be good. I'm going to get straight back to work, and everything that I needed to do would be fine. And 3 months later, I still wasn't walking. And if anything, the pain was starting to get a lot worse at this stage. And after I saw my doctor, he said, he just said, Marina, just suck it up. You are being a serious baby right now. And if you don't start moving that leg, it's just gonna get worse. You're gonna lose your muscle. All this stuff is gonna happen, and it's gonna take a really long time for anything to get better. So I listened to him and I tried, and it didn't work. I pushed myself every day as much as I could, and all that kept happening was the pain was getting worse, and no one could understand why, let alone myself. I really couldn't understand why. All I could tell you was that I knew for a fact in my mind that I really was in pain. And we went on with this on off with crutches, me sneaking to get over-the-counter painkillers, paracetamol, codeine, anything. I did that for the next 2 years, where I was able to kind of manage it with enough painkillers and sort of rest. And 2 years later, I was climbing down a flight of stairs and I slipped. And it took about 3 days or so for the pain to spread just from my knee throughout my leg and my toes and my hip. And at that point, all I could feel was tingling, burning, excruciating pain. And pain had gotten so bad at this point that I was no longer sleeping. So I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating, basically. I couldn't work. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't do anything, really. And this went on for 2 months, where I would go in for an x-ray and everything was fine. I'd go in for an MRI and everything was fine. I would take bloods and nothing could be seen. So, what the hell was wrong with me? And eventually, by November 2010, exactly 2 years after I had had my tumor removal in November of 2008, I found an orthopedic surgeon who was able to diagnose me. And he told me that I had complex regional pain syndrome. But at that point, things were already too late in most of the doctors' opinions. I had completely lost feeling in my right leg. The pain had spread to my left leg as well. My hips couldn't move. My feet couldn't move. I was practically paralyzed from the waist down. I was in a wheelchair. My right leg had started to go through such severe muscle dystrophy that it was shocking. And it sure doesn't help when you ask the doctors, why did I get this? And the answer is, I don't know. What are the outcomes? And the doctors say, I don't know. Is there a cure? No. So at this point, I was a young girl just trying to get through, and I was told that I was now paralyzed from my waist down for no reason, with no cure, and a couple of treatments where we could see, yeah, maybe one day you'll walk again, but I don't know. And I have to sit there justifying for the next few years why my pain was so bad, why things were as bad as they were to everybody, because no one could understand, because no one could see. Pain, we associate pain with injury, be it emotional or physical. Pain is a symptom of injury. You have a wound, you can't see pain. You see blood and you see inflammation, and then you assume that that's painful. But now there is no cut, there is nothing there. There is nothing to say, this is why you should be in pain. No one else in their teens and 20s could really grasp. I mean, I think when you're a teenager, pretty much the only thing you care about is, seeing your friends and going out and all of that kind of thing. And that was not my concern. My concern when I was a teenager was just, am I ever going to walk again? And I'm sitting here 10 years later telling that teenager that it is possible. You will walk again one day, but it's not going to be easy. And I can say that now I can stand up, I can move around, I am fine, so to speak. My pain is still atrocious, but I get through it. And it took a lot of learning and a lot of kind of knowing who to talk to and what to do. But I've made this video and I'm embarking on this journey because I know what it feels like to be thrown into a rare diagnosis where you don't know where to turn, you don't know who to speak to, you don't actually know what to do with your life. And only later did they come out with the statistics showing that CRPS is in the top 3 most painful conditions in the world. It surpasses limb amputation, it surpasses cancer. It is basically as bad as you can get when it comes to pain. It's now November 1st. It is 10 years after my first operation, 8 years exactly after my diagnosis. And also, believe it or not, International CRPS Awareness Month. So for the next 30 days of November, I am going to be sharing with you everything that you need to know about chronic pain, about CRPS, about how to handle a diagnosis, how to handle your lifestyle from there, how to handle your friends, your family, what you need, what you don't need. Because the one thing I didn't have throughout those years was really anyone who could walk me through it day by day and really show me that everything was going to be all right. I did have support, and I do have a couple of chronic pain and CRPS warriors that have stood by my side, and they are phenomenal. And I'm doing this for them. I'm doing this for every single undiagnosed person out there, anyone who thinks they're crazy, anyone who doesn't know how to approach such a scary, scary place, the scary, scary place that they're in at that moment. And to raise awareness about a disease that does affect many, many people. So over the next 30 days of November, you will get all the advice and input I can give about the condition. You're going to get all the things that I wish I knew when I was in that time. And what I would really like from you is for you to tell me what you want me to do, because the next 30 days and the rest of this time, it's not about me. None of this is about me anymore. I know what to do from this point on. This point on, this 10-year mark that happened to coincide so beautifully with CRPS Awareness Month. This 10-year mark is the stand where I say I want to give everything back and make sure no one ever has to suffer like I did. And I want to know that after these 30 days that there is more understanding, more awareness, and more confidence that we can work with chronic pain and get over it and be warriors, and that things will start to get better. And that will include fundraisers, that will include events, that will include everything it takes so that the message will spread. And I look forward to everyone who's going to join me on this joint journey. Thank you so much, guys. Cheers.